Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So let's get to it. Not too much has been going on in this week, but we got a few things we need to touch on. First off, let's start with the Olympics and what a disaster that has been. If you've been watching on the news, then you know that over in Tokyo, they are having an extreme rise in cases in COVID, and that Tokyo was placed under what is the word? They were placed under restrictions. They have mandatory restrictions there, and I'm assuming that they pretty much have shut back down. But in the meantime, the Prime Minister was still very determined to have the Olympics go on there, even after it had been delayed for a year. Tokyo was anxious to still have the Olympics go on. We all had a glimmer of hope when the numbers started to go down, when it was clear that the vaccinations were working and that it was, kind of feeling like everything was going to open back up and we were about to just be able to get back to life as normal. But as I have been telling you guys over the times, that there are variants out there that definitely make a difference in society and its ability to combat this virus. So now we have the Delta variant that I told you guys about. That is the dominant strain here in the United States. They said 83% of all of the cases that are COVID cases are that Delta strain. And the majority, I don't have the number for you, but the majority of those people that are being infected by COVID and the majority of those that are finding themselves in the hospitals are those that have not been vaccinated. So I can just give you some numbers real fast. As of yesterday, even here in the United States, the numbers are going up. As of yesterday, we had 41,310 new cases. So that's up. Remember, we had gotten down to 1,000 cases in a day. Now we're back up 41,310 cases. That's 171% increase in the last 2-week period. Those numbers actually are pretty alarming. And like I said on the news, you have been seeing that the doctors are starting to get stressed again, and they're starting to say that the emergencies are starting to get crowded again and things like that. So they're trying to avoid overcrowding of the hospitals and all that. And that is the reason why they're still, asking people to get vaccinated. But anyway, back over to the Olympics. So the Olympics was determined, Tokyo was determined to have the Olympics. So fine. They said they were going to go through all of the, they're going to go through all the processes to make sure that the Olympians, the athletes were safe, the spectators were safe. But then they finally said, no, there will be no spectators at the event. Okay, they said there will be a spattering of a few spectators at some of the outdoor events, but for the most part, the Olympics will be shut off to the public. But they are having the Olympics. It is starting tomorrow, and as of right now, there are 71 people within the Olympic bubble that have been, that have tested positive for COVID. That's inside the bubble, which means that there's a danger that many of the athletes that are all within the hotels and wherever they have them all staying, they run the risk of catching the virus. Okay. I know they got these cardboard beds out and they're trying to make sure that people not getting sexually active. And, because they all say that at the Olympics, on the campus where everybody is, there's quite a bit of intermingling and everybody seems to be having a good ass time. So they're trying to discourage that type of activity. But more importantly, they ought to be worried about whether or not these athletes are going to be getting sick. And then, some can get gravely sick. I mean, we know that COVID, some people live and some people die. So it's serious enough where, I'm just concerned for the athletes there. Now, we know of our athletes here. I think they said in the U.S. it's been 5 athletes, I believe, that have dropped off. One of them being Coco Gauff, I had told you guys about. Another one is one of the basketball players, the male basketball players. I don't have any of the names. I didn't write them down. I'm just going by memory. One is I believe she's an Asian American gymnast. Don't quote me on the race, but she is a gymnast. And she's also, you know, for America. And there are some others. I think somebody from track and field, and somebody else. So there's been some people from the United States that have, you know, the athletes. The basketball player has not confirmed that he has COVID, but he's been quarantined. So I'm not sure if he's had contact with somebody that has COVID or if he definitely has COVID. But anyway, that is just kind of the start. And Coco Gauff actually got the coronavirus before they even left. So she didn't even leave the United States. But once these other folks got over to Tokyo, then they tested positive. It's going to be interesting these next 2 weeks. Tokyo itself already has a lot of issue with the coronavirus. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to contain all those athletes from getting out into the city and, you know, making things worse. Like I told you guys before, they really should have just canceled these Olympics, and we should have just skipped it, and it would have been an 8-year difference between the two, and we would have just gone from there, because it is still clear that it is not safe, and this could turn out to be a super spreader event, and could set, I mean, really the world back some, you know, as far as this COVID fight has been going on. So yeah, it's a mess. I was like, girl, Sha'Carri, you probably ain't missing out on much now, are you? Because look at what's all going on. I mean, I'm sure that for the most part, you know, it's not going to stop. But I mean, if we got to run the risk of getting sick, I mean, I'm sure everybody's going to be safe. But you know what I mean? So it's just sort of like, yeah, this whole Olympics season has just been a mess. But I'll be watching, will you? And since we're talking about COVID, you know, here in the United States, like I said, many states are going back to the mask mandate. I know someone in my comments said that Nevada went back into it as of midnight last night or this morning. I know California is back on a mask mandate as a whole, and I am expecting that number to grow. I'm sure that the states, you know, as they look at their numbers and see things increasing, especially in those places where the numbers were already very high. So in New York and in California, Arizona, you guys know, Washington, where they had all those high numbers. I'm sure those states are looking very closely to make sure that they don't get back into the predicament that they were in before. You see also on the news that they're talking about breakthrough cases, people that are getting the virus that have been vaccinated. And it is inevitable that there will be some people that do get the virus because the vaccination was not to keep you from getting the virus per se. You could possibly still get the virus, but it definitely is to help keep you from being in the hospital, from you getting gravely to deathly ill. So that is something else that people need to be aware of and be conscious of, and make sure, even as a vaccinated person, that you are still practicing all of the things that you did to make it this far. Okay, wearing your mask, washing your hands, keeping your distance. How many of you guys have found it ironic that now the Republicans are all on board as far as everybody getting vaccinated? Most of them weren't saying anything, and then of course we had some that were flat out saying they weren't getting the vaccination. Well, now that YSAP is out of office, now that their leader is not telling them what to fucking do and say, now all of a sudden we've got all of the top leaders in the Republican Party saying that it's important to get this vaccination, okay? Because even they can see that the nation could very easily head back to a place that nobody wants to be at, okay? The stock market is going crazy. You know, everybody is kind of just not really sure anymore. And we were feeling quite hopeful at the beginning of the summer, weren't we? But what a difference a day makes. You guys know how I feel about the vaccinations. I've had my vaccinations, but I still make sure that I wear my mask. And I tell you guys every time, again, I'm not saying that you need to get vaccinated, but I am saying that you need to be safe, okay? Because this Delta variant, they're saying that it is highly contagious, way more than just the regular strain or the strain COVID-19 that we had, that we were dealing with from before. They're saying that this one is, more contagious, and that people seem to be getting sicker from it. So, I'm I'm so sick of COVID. You know, Mr. was saying that he felt like it was never going to go away. And I was like, it's probably never going to go away because there's always going to be some people that don't want to get vaccinated. There's no way that we can get to herd immunity when half of the nation, well, not half, but at least 30% of the nation is still not getting the vaccination. That's too many people on the other side that don't have it in order for us to, you know, so we can't get to that point. So as long as that is happening, yes, COVID-19 will still be here. And that's just what it is. And I know people get tired of it because I know there's some people out there that's against it and you get tired of hearing me talk about it. So we just gonna move it on along. But I just wanted to let you guys know what the numbers are. Please be safe out there. All right, you guys, congratulations are in order to the Milwaukee Bucks. They are now your 2021 NBA World Champions, and very good for them. I know that they said that they never have had one, right? And in the history of the team, they've never had a world championship. And I mean, of course, and you think of Milwaukee, I mean, not of course, but you know what I'm saying? Like, Milwaukee was never one of those big city teams that we've heard in the past that, you know, because historically, it's always been the bigger name cities that usually are the ones that get most of the talent and, you know, they have the ones. So Milwaukee Bucks was not one, but good for them. Congratulations, Tammy. You guys listen to Tammy Talks. She has a podcast. She's been a rock star for a long time, and just someone that I like to talk to occasionally on social media. She's and I've listened to her podcast. So if you guys like, you know, top of the blogs and things like that, she has a podcast that does very similar things and discussions, and she does interviews and all of that. So you guys check her out, Tammy Talks. I'll leave her her link and shit in my description box. But anyway, I saw her celebrating, and you know, we saw the players celebrating, and just good for them, because you know, when it's a city that you don't really hear much about. I mean, when I think of Milwaukee, I think of Laverne and Shirley, Shamil, Shamazel, House of Pepper Incorporated. All right, I'm telling my age. Half of you guys probably don't even know what a damn Laverne and Shirley is, but like, you know, so this is good. This is good that it brings more attention to the city. It brings more attention to the team. The talent that is there, you know, reminds us that we can't always ignore these smaller cities or these lesser known when it comes to the sports city out there, because yeah, they can pull the talent as well. And right now, with them being the champions, they're going to have they're going to have a good pick in the NBA draft, which also starts in the next day or two. So, yeah, congratulations to my Milwaukee Buckians. I don't know what you guys call yourself. You know, if it ain't the Lakers, child, I don't even pay no attention. Y'all know the Lakers got knocked out early. So it was just, I haven't, you know, I did kind of want Chris Paul to get his, get a championship, you know, under his belt. Because you know how sometimes it is that all these great players, they will never be able to get the championship. They play at a championship level, but they just can't get that ring because the team as a whole just doesn't ever get them there. To, you know, on all the teams that he's been on, he still hasn't been able to get there. So I was hoping that Chris Paul would be able to do it, but hey, it wasn't your time, bruh. So congratulations to Milwaukee, the team, all the staff, and all the fans out there. You guys earned that one. All right, you guys, let's talk about your boy Jeff Bezos. So on the anniversary of Apollo going to space, we had Jeff Bezos. His, I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right, and if I'm not, I'm sorry. Okay, I know somebody's gonna correct me. That don't even feel like I'm saying it right, but anyway, Bezos, maybe that's what it is with a hard Z. His brother, Mark Bezos, Wally Funk, who was one of the Mercury 13, the women who were training to go to space but were never able to go. She was in the capsule. Also, we had an 18-year-old recent high school graduate by the name of Oliver Damon, okay, whose dad had been an investor in the company that Jeff Bezos had created, you know, so that they can do this space flight. He's been an investor, and the dad also bought a ticket for the son to go up into space, okay? Ain't nothing like having a little bit of this now, is it? It must be nice to be rich. Okay, even though I've never had the desire to go up to space, like I'm scary. Okay, I already don't like flying, so I can't even imagine traveling at, warp speed up to space. And yeah, that has just never been nothing on my radar. But I mean, I still think it's fascinating to know that at some point, people, your average Joe Blow, for now it'd have to be your averagely rich, very rich Joe Blow, but maybe sometime, I don't know if it'll be in our lifetime or even maybe in our child's lifetime, but it will be normal for people to be able to access going back and forth to space and just broadening their horizons. Okay, but for now, just those few people were on board. They traveled at a speed of sound, went up 315,200 feet, so that's about 65 miles above the ground. Okay, into space. They were in space somewhere around 11 minutes. They were able to experience weightlessness, or what is it called, so that they can float. Okay, so they were floating around in the cabin, and you could see them just really celebrating and throwing things to each other and flipping around and all of that. It was like looking at kids inside of a capsule. And then they brought it on back down with absolutely no problems, was able to land in the middle of the desert there in Texas, and it was a successful venture. Now, the space rocket, which was called the Blue Origin's New Shepard suborbital space tourism rocket, is going to eventually be open for business. We know that there are quite a few people that were interested. At one point, they were auctioning off one seat on the on the vessel, and the auction ticket went for $28 million. And we can assume that was a very rich person. It's anonymous. We don't know who it is, but that person was supposed to be on the capsule as well. And then at the last minute, they had a schedule conflict. Okay, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to reschedule this. Yeah, I didn't spend $28 million. Okay, and that's how you know when you got some damn money. You ain't doing everything in your power to get this shit done because you don't know 100% for a fact that it'll even happen again. But you run the risk of wasting your $28 million and you not even upset about it. Like, that's the kind of money I'm talking about, bitch. I want that kind of money. Okay, 28 million disposable cash. Anyway, yeah, they have opened it up. Like I said, it's very expensive right now. People can't do it, basically. They're hoping to get the tickets down to around $200,000. So it is still going to be something that only the rich can afford to do. But like I said, maybe in the very, very, in the future, that it will be something that people can do. They're saying that they would love to have, Jeff Bezos' dream is to have a space station up there where people can visit, people can live, and I don't know, it just seems like that's something that's very far off, but they are definitely studying and making it happen, coming up with the technology so that it will one day be a reality. And, I think that's great of Jeff Bezos. Now, of course, there's a lot of people that are upset about it. Okay, they had a petition. It said like 125,000 people had already signed a petition for him to stay his ass up in space. People were upset that he was on an interview and he said that, his employees and the people that shop on Amazon were really the ones who sent him up there. So he thanked people for that. And people were upset about that. I was like, what you upset for? Fuck, we did send that man up there. We are the reason why he is the richest person on this damn earth, because we all purchase from Amazon. Okay. I purchase so much from Amazon that I don't even remember when shit comes. Like, when it comes, I don't be like, well, I don't even know what the fuck it is. That's the kind of ordering that I'm doing. Nigga thinking, I just sit here like, oh, I need me a new pen. I just go and order me a pen, so we are responsible. We are the ones that have done that. I know people have some issue with him paying his employees and him, whatever. But the bottom line is he was very correct. Okay, we are 100% responsible for the successes that Jeff Bezos has had. So I wasn't mad at it. I'm not mad at none of it. There's always been, the extremely rich have always been able to do things that, the average layman is not able to do, you know. So this is no different than anything else. It's just something very, very new, as you know, because they're going to space. But the rich people always have access to these kind of things, and we just don't. But if you want to work hard to be able to do these things, then, you know, I mean, that's what it is. You know, people are saying that he should concentrate more on issues that are going on here on Earth. And he agreed with that. And he said that that was one of the reasons why he retired, or, you know, gave up his position as a CEO at Amazon, because he wanted to concentrate more on philanthropic, you know, type of charitable giving and things like that. So now that that's on his radar, he's left it to that other guy that's running it now, and he's doing things like this. Now, I know you guys all heard that right after his, you know, successful journey to space, he did donate $100 million to Van Jones, and he donated $100 million to Jose Andres. Okay. Van Jones, we all know him, CNN political correspondent, but we also know that he has a nonprofit. Let me see, I wrote it down. It's called Dream Corps, which is a nonprofit for criminal justice reform. We know that. Jose Andres has World Central Kitchen, which is a nonprofit that provides meals in the wake of natural disasters. So this money that Jeff Bezos have given them both, he told them that they are to give that money to their favorite charity. Okay. Well, you can already imagine where that money is going. They both have nonprofit charities. And I believe that the majority of the money that was given to them will go to their own foundations. Maybe they'll, you know, just in good faith and try not to look so damn greedy, you know, will give some of the money away. But for the most part, I'm sure will end up in their own foundations. But that is the start. Jeff Bezos said that is only the start, that he plans, you know, he intends on giving money out as well, because at some point, what are you supposed to do with all this money? You can't take it with you. It just seems like the best thing. I mean, I know if I was rich like that, I'd be giving away money all the time. We know his wife, Mackenzie, his ex-wife, Mackenzie. Remember, I told you guys about how she was just giving away money left and right, you know, just kind of whatever she thought. It didn't even necessarily have to be any foundations or anything like that. It's just whatever she felt the money needed to go to. That's what she was doing, giving it to black colleges, giving it to, I mean, just giving it away. And she gave a little bit, somewhere near almost $4.5 billion of her own personal money away in that venture. And she said that she planned on giving away more. She said because COVID had made the rich extremely richer. You know, the fact that Amazon, like I said, we was just shopping on Amazon because we couldn't get out, you know. And then once we realized that we didn't have to get out, you know, we were shopping even more on Amazon. And you can basically find anything on Amazon. I just told my dad, called me the other day and said he wanted to have stamps sent to the house because he was tired of going to the post office. And I was like, I'm sure they have them on Amazon. And sure enough, he was able to order. He was like, I couldn't believe they sell government, you know, government issue things on Amazon. Everything you're looking for on Amazon, it is there. Okay. So yes, we've made them rich. And I mean, the least you can do. And I know that sounds entitled and all, and people don't have to give away money. But when you have that fucking kind of money, what else do you do with it? What else do you do with it? That is so much money that you could never spend all that. So, you know, let's just do the right thing. So, I mean, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't really bother me. And I know that some people really have a problem with that. But like I said, the extremely rich have always had access to these type of things. Not necessarily going to space, but you know what I'm saying, right? Okay, so that's what it is, y'all. Get over it. If you want to go up, you know, to space, you start saving your ducats. You know, maybe you would be one of the lucky ones to be able to get on there. And then you guys would have to let me know how it was.